Hello friends, acquaintances, and enemies of all ages, my name is Combat Bird, and today we're going to take a look at the Humble Monthly Bundle for May 2019, starting with this month's heavy hitter, Assassin's Creed Origins. The 10th game in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and the biggest change to happen to the series since Black Flag, Origins follows a man named Bayek as he seeks revenge on 5 masked men. Along his way, however, he gets pulled into the surging conflicts of a group of assassins and the Order of the Ancients, a group that becomes more familiar to what we know as the game progresses. Origins takes place in ancient Egypt, a new territory for the franchise, and both a much needed and refreshing change of pace. The environments are as beautiful and interesting as they've ever been, and I get a feeling reminiscent of my first time playing Assassin's Creed, with a desire to explore instead of climbing European building number 57 again. Origins also revamped the fighting system, going from what used to be a press a button at the right time type of game and becoming a more modern, swing the weapon and hope your enemy is in range type of game. This allows for Origins to provide a plethora of weapons that actually feel and play a bit differently, rather than the preceding games where each weapon was basically just a different animation. If you're feeling like jumping back into the overwhelming amount of Assassin's Creed games, Origins is a good start.
We will find you in your sleep!
Finding Paradise. A 2D story-driven role-playing game and a sequel for To the Moon, Finding Paradise might not be for everyone, but certainly has its strong points. We follow a pair of doctors named Eva Rosaline and Neil Watts who intend on helping a morbidly sick man named Colin Reeds. Colin lived a wonderful life but feels that it could have been better, so our pair of doctors go into his memories with the hopes of altering them to the point of him being truly happy. It's a super interesting plot and honestly is probably the game's strongest point. Secondly, the writing itself is all very well done and makes interactions fun and interesting. And that itself is a blessing, because there actually isn't all that much game here. It's more of a slightly interactive narrative experience with the occasional puzzle thrown in. A whole lot of walk from point A to point B. To be honest, it's not the type of game I would tend to be interested in. It's an RPG Maker game, which doesn't mean anything bad necessarily, but the UI is a little wonky, and if you did play To the Moon, it seems to reuse a lot of the same assets. But I use all of this as a point to emphasize how good the writing is because it's a relatively short game, and I absolutely finished it. Monster Prom. Imagine if you made an arcade-based romantic visual novel. Then you took the cliche anime visuals and made each character look cool and unique. And then you turned them all into monsters. That's Monster Prom to a T. You start the game off choosing which character you'd like to play as, and then attend the last 2 or 3 weeks of high school, all with one goal in mind, trying to woo that sweet someone into going to prom with you. Now, unlike a traditional visual novel, Monster Prom is technically played in short bursts. Each game only lasts about an hour or so, as you try your best to not be a total loser with the person you're going for. The game has over 1,400 outcomes, about 400 events, and about 20 secret endings. It also has multiplayer, a feature that as far as I know is completely unique to it. Now to clarify, the multiplayer is almost the same as if a group of friends all played it at the same time, but you get to hear each other's reactions and can actually get a little bit competitive if you wish. I had heard my friends rant and rave about this game for ages, but had never really given it a chance, which is why I am so glad that it was in this month's Humble Monthly, as I now see what all the buzz was about. The Journey Down, Chapter 3. Whatever happened to the classic point-and-click adventure game? Games like The Secret of Monkey Island or Sam & Max. This genre has been left behind, but that didn't stop the developers over at Sky Goblin from trying to bring it back with full force. The Journey Down is a point-and-click adventure series starring a small cast of lovable characters, Juana, Keto, and Lena. This Humble Monthly comes with Chapter 3, the final chapter to the series, and one that has our characters trying to stop a power company that's using a huge mining operation to make money, despite the destruction of everything around it. Nothing is out of the ordinary with The Journey Down. You'll solve puzzles, listen to fun and wacky dialogue from a huge variety of characters, and enjoy every second of it. Point-and-click games most certainly aren't for everyone though, because they can feel a bit slow, especially when compared to the action-packed games of today. I plan on playing the entirety of the Journey Down series, and luckily for me I already own the first 2, but it does feel like a strange decision to include only the 3rd chapter in a Humble Monthly, as anyone who's really interested in the game will wish they had the first 2.
Come a little closer and I'll serve you a fistful of anger, man! Straight from the kitchen of pain!
Wandersong. We all know the tales of brave knights armed with a sword, a shield, and an ironclad will to defeat any threat to the kingdom. But what about the bards? Wandersong answers this question as we follow a cheerful bard as he ends up on a quest to save the entire world. You can dance, you can sing, you can be bullied by the local townsfolk, and you can do it all while looking stylish as hell. This game is best described as a rhythm-based adventure game. You'll use your singing to solve a huge variety of puzzles. Now, while the solution to most of these is obviously to sing, the game doesn't reuse mechanics nearly as often as I would have expected it to. Every new area has a new, intuitive, and interesting way to use your singing, and this keeps the game from getting stale. Although to be honest, with all of the enjoyable characters and hilarious writing, I think this game would have been great even without the puzzle solving. Do not feed the monkeys. Most certainly one of the most intriguing and unique games in this month's bundle, Do Not Feed the Monkeys has you joining the Primate Observation Club, an organization dedicated to the study of primates in their natural habitat. What you quickly come to realize, however, is that this very exclusive club might not be what you'd expect. From your apartment, you can view various cages to get a good observation of the primates. As you learn more and more about the monkeys in each cage, you'll often be given some sort of goal from the club's higher-ups, such as learning the name of the monkey or perhaps the address they live at. As you gain money from completing these goals or working day jobs, you can then purchase more cages to view. And those are really the only goals, actually. Make sure you pay rent, make sure you don't starve, and continue moving up the ranks in the Primate Observation Club. This game is surprisingly addicting, and I found myself getting lost in it, although it can be pretty difficult to move up the ranks. Kind of a niche game, but one that does what it's going for well. Oh, and one more thing. Do not feed the monkeys. I'm Not a Monster. A stylistic, turn-based strategy game where the players are aboard a huge tourist spaceship. I'm Not a Monster has gameplay reminiscent of XCOM with the tactics and decision-making that come from games like Werewolf, Mafia, and the like. The players are divided into two teams, the monsters and the heroes. The goal of the heroes is to rescue civilians off the ship while using a plethora of interesting items. A hero has the ability to use their ingenuity to combine any two items into an incredibly helpful special item, such as a ranged heal or even something like mind control, allowing you to take another player's turn. The monsters, on the other hand, cannot use ingenuity, but in place of it can disguise themselves as heroes and civilians. Their goal is to kill or infect all of the other humans on board the ship. This provides the game with an environment where no one can be trusted and makes for some super fun moments with friends. Unfortunately, the game does not have a true single-player campaign or even arcade matches for that matter. There is a small influx of players from the monthly right now, but typically it's difficult to find an online match. Without friends, it's sorely lacking. With friends, it's a fantastic experience. Once Upon a Crime in the West. Remember earlier with the game Finding Paradise how I said that there was very little gameplay with a couple of puzzles? It's the exact same story here, as this game is a 90% narrated story. You play as a kind of detective, trying to figure out what happened in this saloon by reliving the past 12 days. Each of these days starts to help you understand the situation. You begin to learn which characters like or dislike one another, and have to use that to help determine exactly how it all went down. I'm not going to go far into the game here because it really was an enjoyable experience and only took me about an hour to beat. Just know that if you enjoy stories or narrated experiences, this one will keep you around with its decent voice acting, striking art style, and intriguing plot. This month's bundle might not look all that great at first glance, with quite a few niche games and a heavy emphasis on being story-driven instead of gameplay-centric. But after playing each of these games, I was pleasantly surprised by how enjoyable they were, and most of these I will absolutely be going back to. With 1 being a bad month and 10 being a fantastic month, I give the Humble Monthly for May of 2019 7 out of 10. Hey, thank you so much for watching, guys. I wanted to take this time to announce that I actually became a Humble partner when researching for this video, meaning if you're interested in subscribing to Humble Monthly so that you can play all the games I talk about in these videos, you can use my link to do so. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm hoping to continue with them in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.